Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show.
This moving object, which is just like a stuffed cow. So I was showing you how we don't let the horses mess around with it at night or during the day when they're in here, and it just gets placed over this panel. Then we close the gate while we're operating the moving object, and the moving object runs along some cables at the top near the ceiling, so we don't have to put it away all the time, the cables. Now the working space is up to the frame of that door, and I'm pointing to it, my cameraman will show you, up to the frame of that door this way. So when we clear the space, all we have to do is move a few portable panels out of the way. Now this motor cow makes some noise, and my horses should be familiar with it, but it's been a while because it's been quite a while since we've had some rain. So I'm lifting the lid for the toggle switch, and you're a little bit close. And I know when we first start moving with cow simulators, we try to be close so they clearly see the simulator, but with all these ropes and cables, I'm a little bit worried about her running into it. I think I like that distance. Okay, another couple times with this pattern, and that's all. One more time. Oh, I like that. Back her up a couple steps. Pat her. Oh, too bad she threw her head. No, then we have to do it again. Maybe not 3 times, just once or twice. Okay, I'm coming eastward. But walk around first. Let's get that stress out of her body. We almost had our moment of resolution, but we want to be really careful to stop when they're not stressed. Katie's going to put herself back in position, head on head with the moving object. I'm going to go westward. Good. Eastward. Westward. Whoops, lost it. But I'm glad my handy person Everett's here. Did you hear that? We need a little oil up there or something.
Easy.
Okay, coming
back.
Yeah, let's get her stress-free again. And of course, we're going to do this with our other 2 horses. Pretty soon, rain or shine. Eastward. Westward. I think we should stop now. That's a good moment of resolution. No head throwing. She went over her haunches, and I feel really good about this rainy day exercise on giving Sadie some practice doing cow work. Today I'm going to show you some basics about ranch roping. What do I mean by ranch roping? It's real roping. A lot of competitions are based on chute roping. Cattle running straight out of the chute in a straight path, maybe turning, maybe not turning, but usually in a straight path. And we've done some of that with Eve here with our cow simulators, straight paths, sometimes faster, sometimes slower. And what I was trying to teach her to do was to understand that she needed to rate the cow simulator, and put me in position to the left of the horns so that I could rope the horns. And I had to get her to understand that when the cow simulator stops, she has to stop. And that she can't be swiveling her hips around or her shoulders around, that she needs to help me go in position so that I can rope the horns. For today's demonstration, I am just using the leather Honda, which is the usual Honda that is used for roping, whether it be ranch roping or competition roping. This is a very stiff rope, but I'm going to show you, I'm really not going to show you a lot of roping today. I'm not going to show you a lot of speed today. I don't even have my roping reins on, which are smaller in diameter than these, than this yacht rope rein setup that I have here. because I'm not seriously going to do roping today. I'm just going to show you some principles. Now, Eve is usually good because she's been desensitized so often about having a rope over her head. This is not so easy for horses that haven't learned to accept the feel of the rider's body, the swishing of the rope, without getting stressed. And you see, Eve is turning her ears to me. She's saying, okay, what's next? But she's not stressed. You can tell by her body language. And when I work with her today, we've got the roping horns, and my cameraman's going to show them to you. That's an old piece of garden equipment that I didn't use anymore for what I bought it for. And instead I added some horns to it. But see, it's got some wheels. And it attaches to my electric bike and my ATV, battery-operated ATV, but it also attaches to a handle that we made, a double-ended handle, easily attached so that we can do some slow work and with just the help of a human being pulling on it, because it's not very heavy. The roping horns are not heavy. Okay, and we're in my arena for a reason. You know, when you do ranch roping, you're usually trying to catch a cow for a good ranch reason, like you're trying to vet them or you're trying to brand them, and you usually have the herd in an arena where there are fences. We could also do this in my pasture when the weather is better, the grasses are still a little bit wet, and have a bigger fenced area. But for now, just my medium-sized arena here that has a sanded ground. Okay, now I'm going to show you what the best position is, and I've done this when I was doing cow simulator work. If I can while I'm holding on. Eve woke up. Whoop, whoop. I don't even have spurs on because Eve is very sensitive to leg pressure. I didn't even want to put my spurs on. You see, she's a little bit nervous. Try to get her head down. No, I'm not. So we put the double reins on. I've talked about these many times. They sit on the neck, not used, not applying pressure until you need them. And they kind of get your vertical flexion almost right away, and then instantaneously we remove the pressure. Looking over her ears. Very quietly. Okay, bump, 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 back, back. There we go. That's the body language I want. Okay, now I'm going to walk over to these roping horns and put her in the position that is the traditional position when you rope in competition. Now, if I were to try to rope this when it starts to move, I want her attention on the moving object, her head won't be in the way. And I can throw the rope on these horns and have somebody remove the loop from the horns, back, and that's the correct position. There's a whole lot more to roping than just getting in the correct position, but if you're not in the correct position, it's much harder to catch your target. And you know what? When you're ranch roping, you're very often not in the correct position because there's no chute. There's no obvious reason for the cow to go straight. So you end up having to rope long, long distances, and that's why ranch ropes are longer, and in the wrong position. So let me show you the wrong position. Well, now I'm to the right of the horns. And you say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, I'm right-handed. My loop is in my right hand. So, okay, boing, 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 I can swing it, but can I throw it without hitting her head? Can I swing and then throw over her head and still catch my target? My objective is to catch at least one horn in this bad position. And then if you ever have an opportunity to watch a real ranch roping, it's quite amazing what a good roper can do on a good horse when they're in an equally bad position very far away from the moving object. Back. Whoop. Okay. Over. High. I got one horn. Okay. I got one horn. I'll bet you I could get two horns if I do this for a little longer. And then I pulled the rope off her head, off the horn, and lo and behold, what happened? But okay, again, we've proven that Eve has a very good disposition. And I'm encouraged, actually, that I got one horn. Gosh, I want to try again. You know, when do you call it your moment of resolution? I'll tell you what. You move out, and we're going to rate it at a slow pace, put ourselves in a position again, and try again overhead, over her head. I'm sitting on my pockets. Good. Okay, stop. Whoa. Good. Okay. Over her head. Got the other horn. Of course, I'm in a slightly different position. When I do this from the ground every day, I remind myself where to look, where to stand, how high to go with my swings. Over her head. Let go of the coils, and there you go. That's my moment of resolution. I got both horns. I'm gonna say that, okay, Eve, you're a good girl. I'm gonna remove the pressure by not roping again. And then we're gonna have practice sessions. I was careful that time not to bring the loop so far over her head that she got caught again by it. It's all right, Eve. I still want her to stand here for me. And I'm going to come up here and show you. Now, a good Western saddle has a nice lariat hold tie. You go a couple times around. There's a slit at the top to go around your horn. And there you go. You don't have to worry about the lariat anymore. You just worry about your reins, where you want to go next. Does your horse understand? And that was just a good, very short introduction of part of what you need to know for ranch roping. And we're going to do a whole lot more of that here at Shadrach Farms because that's what we believe in. We believe in learning how to rope and teaching your horse, training your horse to be a rope horse when you don't have a chute and when you don't have a straight path and when you have various speeds of your moving object. And at first we'll do the handheld, pull the roping horns with the handle. Then we'll do it with the ATV, which is a battery-operated terrain vehicle, and then we'll, which goes faster than you can from the ground with the handle. And then we'll do it with the electric bike, which can go pretty fast. But we'll be doing that in other places. Both the ATV and the electric bike can't be used here in the arena. The sand is too soft and deep. So we'll find other places that are places that one would realistically want to vet your cattle, handle your cattle, separate your cattle, whatever it takes. And by the way, the rope can be used to help separate the cattle too, because you can rope a particular member of the herd and then with the proper dally around the horn, and I'll be showing you that, you can pull that particular member safely, comfortably to another place than where the herd is. So that's just my first introduction today for you and for Eve, because it's been a while, for ranch roping. And that's all for today. Today we're doing several things here in the square pen, even though it's not a rainy, windy day. We want to give Eve the opportunity to follow the motor cow on short paths, slow short paths. We want to give Angela the opportunity to sit on Eve when she's going over her haunches slowly. We want Angela to get the feel of what it feels like to go with a horse, stay in the center of a horse. And one of the reasons we want to do that is on a trail ride 2 days ago, Eve spooked on the trail because of our best guess, a butterfly coming by. You never know what's going to spook a horse. So the rider at that time just sat with Eve as she sidestepped over, and then the spook was over. Now, Angela's kind of new at riding. We want to give her that opportunity to feel like what it's like to go with a horse with suppleness. If she gets nervous and stiff, she's more likely to fall off. Now, this motor cow is going to make a little noise, and that's why we have Angela over here. We're just going to let Eve become familiar with it. Oh, and one more thing we're doing today is we're trying to make sure the lighting is proper. That's why we put all the shades down and turn our fluorescents on and close the door. Last time we were in the square pen, the camera had trouble giving us a good lighted picture. So we think we can solve that problem by doing the three things I just said. Now I'm holding this out, this stuffed cow out, and I'm gonna turn on the motor and it makes a noise. And Angela, you're relaxed. Good. Now back her up. Back up, Eve.
Back.
She was fine.
Back.
Try to keep her head down.
Back.
She's got my roping reins on, but
Back.
just for the short
You're okay.
lesson. Okay, Eve is licking her lips. Back, and now try to look over your left shoulder and try to ask her to swing around her haunches. Good. And stop.
Steady. Oh.
And back up again. Whoops.
Oop.
We're going to try to
Over
back
the
straight
haunches.
pass.
Okay.
Sometimes getting haunches stops, and
Steady.
doing
Oh.
this kind of exercise, the horse doesn't realize that when we go straight, we need to do straight paths and not flip the hip around or drop the shoulder. So these are all things you can practice here in a small area. This is a 44-foot square, covered square pen. Okay, now, Eve will eventually, with repetition, get the idea that this moving object, which looks different from other moving objects that we have here as cow simulators, is nevertheless a moving object that she's supposed to follow. But we have to make her realize over and over and over again that if she has to turn to follow or parallel the moving object, she has to use her haunches and not make a U-turn. That's critical in cow work. Okay, so I'm going to wait for you to step one step back with Eve.
Good.
There, good. And
Very
whoa.
good. Whoop.
Good. Try not to use your reins. As a matter of fact, Aaron Ralston just did a special on RFD TV where he had no reins, no saddle, and he didn't even use the word hoe. Not until the very end of his exercise. He was trying to have the horse understand what speed and direction the horse was supposed to be going by just feeling the body language, seeing the fences come up, and then finally he started using the word hoe, and by then the horse was already understanding when Aaron Ralston sat on his pockets and put his feet slightly forward and didn't apply pressure to the sides of the body, that the right answer was to give a nice haunches stop, especially if approaching a fence, and that's called fencing. And we've been practicing that with Eve. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is pull her shoulder over, not pull it over, use your left leg at her shoulder and use your right rein to keep her from going forward. See if you can get that shoulder to come over so you are parallel to the cow.
Okay.
And yes, open the door, right? And whoop.
Whoop.
Good, good. And a step or two back.
Back. Back.
And next time, let's put those double reins on, Eve. Uh-oh, we didn't get it straight. Do you see how all these very simple movements, no, you need to come back. I want her head going in this direction, and I want her head lined up with the moving object.
You want her pointed that?
Yeah, you can be that far away from it, but I want you to, that would be okay, in that direction. Okay, and hope. Good, good. Now I'm going to wait for you to do a step back. I'm going to toggle to the east.
Back.
And you try to stay up with it.
Good girl.
Good girl. Keep going. We need to
Step
go
up.
head on head.
Step up.
See, if she were really doing some cutting or sorting or penning, this cow, if it wasn't on a rope, would see this opening here and be out of there. So we need to make Eve realize that she is going to be the
Steady.
closed door that keeps the cow where we want it. Okay, now try to bring her head on head. Try to get her body straight. Good. And when you said ho, were you sitting on your pockets?
Yeah.
But she kept moving.
Yep.
Okay, so like Dennis Reese says, first you ask. Then you ask with a little bit more
Steady.
authority.
Oh,
There you go.
Good.
Okay. Now Eve has her eyeballs on this moving object. Whoops, you got to get that hip over so it's parallel. Think about
Okay.
what you need to do. Good.
Oh.
Very good.
good girl,
Okay, now
Eve.
I'm going to go. She's watching. Eve is definitely watching. She knows this thing is going to move. Take it one step back. You do.
Back. Back.
Stop her
Oh.
straight. Nice. Oh, don't let her go. Right. A stop is a stop. You're going to have to ask with more authority. If she doesn't understand it's the right answer, take a step back.
Back.
She's licking her lips. Can you stop her straight?
Oh.
Now, can you see that speed is going to be the next request?
Yep.
If this cow goes faster, she has to go faster. But I love the fact that she was licking her lips. I'm going to stop the camera now because I've accomplished my goals. I've reached my note of resolution in a very short time today, but I'm going to let Angela walk around this square pen practicing simple requests, mostly with her body, with Eve, to go forward, go backward, and then, even without the moving object, by opening the door and closing the door with both your reins and your legs, you're going to be able to get Eve to step over her haunches. And that's what's going to make you and Eve a good cow-horse pair. And it's so much fun to do cow work, even simulated cow work, that we spend a lot of time here at Shadrack Farms learning and practicing just that. Here's a session with Semi, and we're in the square pen again. It's a rainy day. And yeah, we need to keep Semi from going forward, only over the haunches and straight paths. Okay? Yes, get that vertical flexion. I'm coming eastward. Yes! You see that head come down. Okay. Eastward. Westward. Good. Good. Now, I was watching a Ken McNabb show about sorting, which is becoming a very popular sport, and a young boy on a green horse went into the corral that had maybe a dozen head of cattle, and while the horse could move the cow out of the herd, every time the horse lost the cow when the cow tried to go back to the herd. And it was very clear to me that it was because that horse didn't know that the best way to stay with a cow and block a cow is to go over the haunches. But Semi does know that. So I'm going to do some very quick turns and then a couple of long runs. I'm not giving her any special pattern. She's going to have to know that it's her job to rate this cow and go with it, but not with U-turns and not leaking in. So here we go again. Katie had to sit back on her pocket to get Semi to go over her haunches. Here we go. I'm going to come back. That's it. We're getting that enthusiasm. Good. And the only thing is that hop loses time. So it's not quite the right structure. Boy, I hope that rope isn't going to pull a barrel over. Be careful, I'm coming to the middle. No, we're okay. We've got a tail on it so it doesn't swing as long. Okay. Yeah, we got to get Semi to keep her neck down to watch the moving object and not to hop, but her enthusiasm almost always, when she gets really locked on, makes her want to hop. Okay, I'm going eastward, westward, eastward, that's it, over the haunches, good, westward, stop in the middle, good, and we're leaking forward a little bit, so Katie, move her out, side pass her over. Okay, we're going to go continue westward. Sometimes I stop, sometimes I don't, I just keep going. Her ears are back. She knows that it's her job to keep up with this thing, but here we go. She's leaking forward, which is something that often happens in training. But if you try to ride a horse and cut a cow out of a real herd, a herd that's got a lot of spunk, that leaking forward will make you lose the cow, that's for sure. So we need to make sure that Semi understands it is not the right answer to come into the moving object. Remember, I'm doing camera and toggle switch, so if I lose the proper image for a few seconds, that's because I am trying to do two things at once here. Okay, I'm going to come back eastward. I'm going to suggest something. We didn't want to have Semi move too fast today, but I'm going to suggest the next time we do this, you have spurs on. Because if she knows you have spurs on, if you just tickle her once with the spur, she is going to move much faster when you ask with your legs. Eastward. Yeah, that's kind of lazy. Westward. Eastward. I'm going to wake her up. That's it. Westward. Leaking forward. Almost in the ropes. Get back in position. That's what's great about these training tools. It's not a real cow, but it moves, and it must be rated and followed and cut and over the haunches, but if you need to correct, you can stop it. You can't always do that with the real cows. And in next season, season 27, we're going to try to do, as the weather clears up, and spring and summer come here in Santa Cruz, we're going to try to do some more cow work with my miniature zebus, who are not as predictable and not as manipulable as are these cow simulators that we have mechanically operating. Okay, here we go. Long run. Back a step. Let's wait for you back a step to get her on those haunches. Long run. Long run. That was beautiful. I'm going to stop in the middle. Let's see if she's good. 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 Just move her over a little bit. She's a little bit close, but I'm going to call that our moment of resolution.
See more at www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.